What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So what I'm going to show you today, this is not clickbait. When it comes down to Social Security benefits over a span of 10 years could be increased by over $2,000, okay, around $2,600. I'm going to show you how that can happen in this video. But first off, if you guys can do me a favor, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that little bell notification, and then click all. By clicking all, you'll get notified anytime we post a video. We do daily videos here, so by clicking the bell notification and clicking all, you should be getting updated every day. And just a reminder, thank you for your support. I really appreciate it. And if you'd like to join our membership, hit the join button below. And with membership, you'll get customized emojis as well as custom badges. Okay, so I want to show you guys this, and this is coming from the Motley Fool. And let me show you what I'm looking at here on the screen. And I want to read. Let's read the top portion first, and then we'll get into this. And it says TSCL found. Now, TSCL, that's the Senior Citizens League, found that CPI-E was higher than CPI-W in 7 of the last 10 years. Had the government used the CPI-E to calculate COLA instead, the average senior would have received $2,689.20 more over the last decade, as outlined in table below. Okay, so I want to take a step back before we look at this table. So you have the CPI-W and the CPI-E. So what are they? So the CPI-W is what the Social Security Administration currently uses to calculate COLA for every year. So COLA in 2025 is going to be no different. They're going to take July, August, and September. Those are the months they take. They're going to be looking at the CPI-W. That's for urban wage earners as well as clerical staff. So you're talking about people who are in the workforce. Now, the CPI-E is the CPI for the elderly. So that greater reflects people who are retired, greater reflects people who are receiving Social Security benefits. So why aren't they using the CPI-E instead of using the CPI-W? That's a great question. They should be using the CPI-E, and I'm going to show you in this table that if you're using the CPI-E, you can receive bigger benefits, more money. And so that is the issue right now. Congress actually needs to act on this, so they would have to pass something. This is one of those things where it should be a no-brainer. It really should be. Because how are you going to use a metric, the CPI-W, that reflects people who are currently working for people who are retired, or people who are receiving Social Security benefits? It doesn't make sense. Your needs are different when you retire. Your needs are different when you're older. When you're older, you probably rely more on shelter, you rely more on health care and things like that. So why are you going to use a metric for people who are currently working? Because their spending habits are going to be different than the spending habits of elderly people. And so it doesn't make a lot of sense. And I've talked about this before when it comes to CPI-E and the CPI-W, and they need to make the change. But I have had you guys ask me, well, what's the difference? What does it really look like on paper? And so we're going to show you right now on this table. So when we're looking at the CPI, and this right here, so we have the CPI-W and we have the CPI-E. So moving down here, let's say 2014, there was no COLA change, okay? And there was no COLA change for the CPI-W or the CPI-E. Now, in 2015, we saw a 1.7% increase for COLA. That's for the CPI-W. And it was a 2% increase for the CPI-E. And so in 2016, we saw 0%. So there was no COLA increase in 2016. However, and that's for the CPI-W. However, if you were receiving the CPI-E, if they changed that metric to CPI-E, you would have received a 0.6% increase, okay? So it would have been small, 0.6%. It's small, but it's better than nothing. Now, moving forward, 2017, the increase was a 0.30, and that was for the CPI-W. The CPI-E would have been 1.5%, okay? 2018. The CPI-W was a 2% increase, so the Social Security increase was 2%, and the CPI-E would have been 2.10%. 2019, the CPI-W was 2.80%. So the Social Security increase at the time was 2.8%. If we would have changed the metric to the CPI-E, it would have been 2.60%. So you see here, there's a difference. And actually, the CPI-W was higher that year than the CPI-E. But we're looking at averages overall. What's important. In 2020, the CPI-W was 1.60%. The CPI-E was 1.90%. In 2021, the CPI-W was 1.30%. The CPI-E was 1.40%. In 2022, the CPI-W was 5.90%. Now look at this. The CPI-E that year in 2022 was 4.80%. So it was actually lower than that 5.9%. In 2023, the CPI-W was 8.70%. Now the CPI-E was 8%. So you see, this is another year where it was lower. In 2024, the CPI-W was 3.2%. And look here, the CPI-E was 4%. Okay? Now, they're showing you the totals here. And they're looking at the average Social Security benefit, but they're showing you the totals here. So the differences for the CPI-W would have been $178,241.70. And this is over a 10-year span, okay? And then the CPI would have been $174,930.90. So that's the difference there that they're talking about of $2,689.20. So that's what we're looking at when it comes to the CPI-E compared to the CPI-W. So over time, there's a benefit to moving to that new metric, moving to the CPI-E. And so hopefully Congress will do something about this. I think this is something that's long overdue. And all it is, I mean, this is an up or down vote that they can call in both the House and the Senate just to change the metric. It makes sense to change that metric because you're using the wrong metric for Social Security beneficiaries by using the CPI-W. So in the long run, yes, this would cost more money for the Social Security Administration, meaning that you're going to have to pay out more in benefits for the most part, but that's over time. And once they reform Social Security, this won't be an issue when it comes to the revenue stream coming in. But you do need to address the fact that you're using that wrong metric. And if you use the right metric, you're looking at $2,689 difference over a 10-year span. And this is the problem with when we're looking at this. We're not going to see something immediate. But if you change the metric here, you change from CPI-W to CPI-E, over time, it's going to benefit people who are currently receiving Social Security benefits. So I want to know what you guys think about this, so let me know in the comments below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.